Ukraine is leading the charge when it comes to modern drone warfare. So today, we're talking with the commander of one of Ukraine's dedicated drone units. Yevgen Karas is the commander of Ukraine's 413th Unmanned Systems Forces Battalion. These guys operate everything from FPV kamikaze type drones to medium range bombers to long range fixed wing deep strike platforms. In the conversation, Yevgen and I talk about the makeup of a dedicated drone unit like his, how the drone war has changed since 2022. And strangely enough, I didn't expect this. He said 80% of foreign provided drones don't cut it on the modern battlefield, which is interesting. Now, a couple key notes. You'll notice the duty officer on the wall behind Yevgen. Feel like I need to call that out, or it's probably going to bug people for the duration of the interview. Yevgen also has a YouTube channel that we'll link in the description below. And lastly, this interview was organized by Ukraine Aid Operations. They're helping with a fundraiser, or they're organizing a fundraiser right now for UGVs and drones for a couple different Ukrainian units. If interested and able, the link to donate is in the description below. It's a 501c3 registered nonprofit, very transparent, solid organization. But with that, let's get to the conversation. Again, thank you so much for taking the time, sir. Really excited to get your takes on how much the war has changed, especially the drone warfare aspect. And I know you're busy, so thank you very much.
Thank you for the opportunity also.
Now, you guys have a lot of different capabilities in your unit, the 413th Separate Unmanned Vehicle Battalion, everything from short range to very, very long range. How did that come together? Why all of that in one unit rather than breaking it down into different capabilities?
Really now, Armed Forces of Ukraine and some special forces, they are dividing use of different kinds of drones. And now I know like in some European countries, they start creating some unmanned system forces, and they already divided it on 4 branches. Air, sea, ground, and interceptor, like called contra, anti-aircraft. So it depends on the specific of command of the drones, of the like maybe kind of forces. In Ukraine, we know that some units are specialized on like little range tactics, like supporting of the infantry. Some units are dedicated to work with the long range, and like we are focused on the distance of tactical range and operational strategical. Why it's all collected in one unit? Because I think the question about experience of the personnel. Crews who work, they very, if you're talking about birds, not about FPV drones or like heavy bombers, like Russian call it Baba Yaga, like very, very angry and scary grandmother. It's from terrorist stories. As we're talking about planes, as it for deep strike or the middle strike or its recon drone, many similar things. So I know it from practice that it's not so hard to teach experienced pilot of the long range system or technician to the recon bird. It's a big difference between the ground systems or naval systems. Oh yes, that's really big. And we also like have a separate battalion unit, extended big battalion, newly created in Unmanned Systems Forces. And Unmanned Systems Forces also, I think it's maybe first time in the world from the maybe last 100 years we were now created new kind of forces, like after the aviation, now the drone forces. And we to the case of the urgent tasks and very fast developing and changing tactics, we not only like combat unit who get some weapons and fight with it. We develop our own school of pilots, and in this school develop like a course, we call it Dronicide Shotgun against FPV, because we see that it was very urgent and important to protect infantry special forces from the drone attacks. So we like collected all kinds of the shotguns, tested it, and created like a manual and created this course for the another units. We trained maybe now 300 guys, several maybe some 20 instructors from the different units, including special forces. And what I'm talking about, that now we see surprise that our FP... Вырубай его, пожалуйста. That now we see that school who train FPV pilots can train guys who work with the interceptor. Interceptor is like a not so old story, like it's fresh. And I was surprised that almost all skills of FPV pilot is very suitable for the pilots who work on drone hunting in air, including the Shaheeds. So air sphere is like different thematics, but they are connected in one, I think.
Do you guys have interceptor units within your organization, or is that separate?
Also, yeah.
You have interceptors?
Now it can be now it's like some FPV squads or squads who work with operational level of strike. They can have one or two squad teams. Teams in squad who work with the interceptor instruments, and we got. It was also some funny story because it's about the experience, about the talent, about the, like a passion of pilots. Because my pilots get a very old version. It was like from the previous year of Hunter drone, and I do not expect they can work with it because it's old, and war is too fast changing. And then I got like in my statistics of the everyday hits, we got one enemy wing, another Russian wing, then Russian one set, and I think, how they doing it? And they say they're using our old drones, but they take some instruments, trying to change frequency to make a better transmitter, and they all drones become a new. It's looking really now like a Frankenstein. So it's like was a default drone, but now it's with many wires, with another things. It's really when you look at it, you are how it's flying, and they just upgraded it and started to work. And then I understand my teams can work already, not waiting for some new systems. So it's very many like connected spheres, but I think it's really divided. All the air, all the ground, and all the naval systems. Of course, ground systems and naval can be similar with the problems of air drones about question connection, about the signal of the like we understand on Sirius, radio, Norenak against famous corporations or another systems like Starlink. So of course, experience of your pilot of your crew to work with some like organizing connection, it will be also useful for any system or ground or naval, but really it's now we not work with the ground systems like our battalion and not work with the naval systems.
When you're talking about the pilots here, and I think one of the challenges we have when looking at this is we think of drones and immediately it's pilots, but there's so many more people in the organization. What are some other positions in an unmanned vehicle battalion?
It's really like a usual military unit. Staff, logistics, personnel. As you're talking about the combat crews, it's in the beginning of the era of drones, I think it was 2022, we was maybe the first separate unit of drones in armed forces. For that period of time, it was not this battalion, it was another unit. By decision of general staff, by the assistance of general staff, because we saved one very big and very loudly American project with the combat drones for Ukraine. We use it very properly and good in special operation unit. And then general staff wanted to assist our initiative and bring a possibility to work with another systems. And for that period of time, I joke that it's like drone, it's like auto-aiming, like a homing javelin. But with javelin, you need to work from the cover, and Ukrainian anti-tank system, Stugna, it's almost famous, and you can work from the cover. Javelin, you need to see a target. And I was very impressed about the importance of modern technology because in the beginning of the big war, not the 14th, because I joined military forces in the 14th, then I quit in 2016. But in 2022, when it was Russian columns near Kiev, I, with the NLAV rocket system, I often remember in this story because it was very dangerous, We got free NLAV, and it was a very close distance attack on Russian tanks and APC column from the 35 meters. We sit in the like some broken pipe near a road, so Russian APC when it turn is riding through us. When it turned it to us turret, it can hit because it bullets from the automatic cannon go above my head because cannot do to so down to the air. But when from one and love only one shoot, from three only one shoot because battery was old, damaged maybe. So it's when you turn you get a signal, but when you start shooting it's like some jump of the voltage and it's turned off. And we understand if the tank stopped because they were scared. We one hit and another run away. I understand if they stopped, we will be killed. And I understand it's very bad to work with old period grenade launchers because every your mistake, every mistake of an error, malfunction of weapon, you'll be alive. So I speak to my guys that we need drones because they can give us possibility to hit twice per time. We got a chance. And so now even like fiber optic drones, it's really looking like X large range Javelin. You've got also I don't Javelin don't have, but some old Soviet anti-tank rocket systems, they also have rockets who with fiber optics, not maybe fiber optics and another, and you got a video channel to hit. So it's like when I'm talking about it, we look to the drones like 10 times upgraded mortar or anti-aircraft or some Stinger or the grenade launcher. So the crew very in many cases are similar. You need a driver, you need a second man, you need a guy who maybe work with a payload, with explosives, and if it's a recon unit, you need a fewer maybe unit, no need guy who work with explosives, but there can be some another guy who working like a cargo carrier. It can be driver or another. No, in the case of the how huge is your plane. So generally, specific of drone units, you need to have a drone laboratory. It's called like repair squad, and you need to have a talented and experienced and really passionate guys from the like EOD demolition squad, because it's very important to upgrade, to get some experience, and every time you need to make like analysis what is going wrong, why we do not hit target, what we can improve, how Russians improving their defense, their tactics, and it's all-time work. And all-time work with different kind of explosives, of some metal work, and that may be specific of drone units that you need to have two laboratories of explosive and drone unit. And what is specific also, maybe I think it's bigger size, but I think S3, S2 section intelligence and mission planning, I don't think they are more complicated or advanced than in infantry unit. I think no. Another specific, of course, because we work many with some data information. Maybe infantry or special forces units, they are more deeply engaged in some planning of the how units working. We not so need to plan how the units, how the teams are moving, but we must know about more. And this is a recon, and this is a like S3 section about the frequency, jammers, how it's working in the region, and very important to drone unit. But maybe also I know it's for all unit important. Military cooperation and exchanging of the recon information with another units, because the specific of drones, you need to know who is your neighbors and how is their tactic of works, what time they working, because air is not clear. If you, I got us when it was Ukrainian attack, like trying to get back our territories, like big attack in 2023. I got very one sad story when it was very hard fight, when we covered from the air our infantry and special forces and some volunteer guys from Russian volunteer corps in Ukrainian army. Also was some guys from Latin America, and it was very hard fight. Like even from the, I was for that period of time of neighbor unit command post. Brest. It was 20 kilometers from front line. But even then, just looking on monitor, I was wondered how I feel in the heat of the battle. And it was one very sad incident when we almost take control on the Ukrainian village, which were before captured by Russians. And there was maybe 2 or 3 guys of Russian infantry who still was active in the fight. But they get reinforcement from APC. APC was damaged, but we can destroy it because my drone and drone of border special forces, we blocked frequency one of another because we start in a hurry of a combat. We almost in one time start flying and we jam it one another. And we don't hit this APC. APC get reinforcement, and all the final stage of attack was unsuccessful. That's a very important mission for the mission planning detachment and recon to know exactly how drone units will cooperate in combat zone.
That's a lot there. Yeah, again, I now for anybody watching, this interview was organized by Ukraine Aid Operations. We're doing a fundraiser with them to try to pick up some more drones, not just unmanned ground vehicles, but also recon drones. If interested and able, please consider donating. That link will be in the description below. We're making a lot of progress, so I think we hit our 50,000 goal really, really quick and moved it up to 70. But there we go. Yeah. Yevgen, you were talking about the Russian tactics a minute ago, and there's an interesting aspect here where we're seeing innovation on both sides to a degree in this fight. Can you give an example, or are there any stories of something you saw the Russians do in terms of drone warfare, and you said, "Ha!" and you guys took that, changed it, made it better, or improved upon it? Is there anything specifically that stands out to you?
About Russian improvements in drone war?
Like you first saw it, or from that the Russians were doing it, and you thought, I'm going to take that and I'm going to improve upon it, and we're going to...
No, generally we can take that Russians one-set system. It's like similar to Switchblade. We work with a Switchblade, and one-sets are good. They are not so expensive. They are massively used. They use it by very skilled teams. I think usually it's like airborne special force or military intelligence special force units, and Russian connection systems of connection. They used it's like model antenna Cometa, they call it. CRP antenna Cometa, they got very good quality of it. It's very pity because Cometa was improved in Ukraine before the big war begins, before the first decades in, I think, if I'm not mistaken, in nearby 2012 year, it was developed in Ukraine, but all this technology were stolen for that period of time for pro-Russian government. Then we got like Ukrainian revolution and we throw out them, but technologies were stolen by Russian. And Cometa is very good, and they improving improving it also fast. Shahed systems, it's Iran and mixed with Russia. They also Shaheds. Every, I think, 3 months they made upgrade of tactics, upgrade of principles of use, upgrades of systems of avoiding our interceptors. So in case of modern technologies, Russians not standing on one point. They all every time improvement, and every guy from Ukrainian intelligence, from Ukrainian air defense, they are not smiling on the Russians. On ground, we see many very wasting of people. They now because get very big casualties of APC of tanks. May months I think now is like anti-record in this war because they lose very small quantity of APC tanks. By the reason they don't use them. That's why there is no tank APC on battlegrounds, so we cannot hit them. Because they use bicycles, golf cars, and buggies. But they are not so armored. If they wanted to bring free personnel and they get like the hundreds of the APCs, they can use one APC BMP with free guys, but they do not use APC because they are few. Why very few times see now like a BMP free or T90. I see like a big operations of Russia forces on the ground. They now use instead of artillery like 10 T54. On attack operations they use T62, and that's a very old tanks.
Yeah.
And so on ground, they really getting very big casualties. We see now that time of preparing of Russian soldiers now even in the airborne units and marine, because it was some captured Russian soldier, and my guy, it was in Kursk region, and my guy say we get a Russian soldier. He speak only 2 weeks of preparing. I think, oh yeah, it's infantry. It's infantry, maybe 44th of 11 armored corps. And they say, no, it's Marine. I think Marine cannot. Marine, Russian Marine, 2 years usually get 2.5 months of preparing. I think not, it's not Marine. My Marine is elite. No, it was really Marine from 810 Crimean Brigade. Oh, how it's happened? It's happened because the very big casualties, not even by killed personnel, but for wounded and deserters, and they need to renew it to continue attacking. And they really wasting very big people on Earth. They even, we see it, it was very like, I even not believing what I see. How they attack? They use it not massive attacks. They use one soldier, two soldier, one died, one soldier died, one, two, one alive. Another attack, two soldiers died. Another attack, two soldiers came. When it grouped near our positions 5 or 4 guys, they bring to this Russian groups a radio station to get connection with the command. So they like, if you not get 3 or 4 soldiers, Russia, who get nearby our positions, they don't know have even the communications. They don't know. They like go there. You go there with the AK and like wait. When you collect 3 or 4 guys, then you will get connection and then new orders. So it's really like kamikaze attacks. Many of them scare. They very often used like some torturing. No, in our Russian media channels, we almost 1 time a week when we see when Russian side they public a video how they tortured guys who don't want to go to attack. And so on ground with the vehicles they got a very big problems. But in modern technologies like jammers, like drones, Russia not joking. They really every day they're trying to become better and they trying to get some improvements.
So one of the big changes we've seen recently, or an interesting innovation, is this Army of Drones program that Ukraine has rolled out, and we've read some about it, where there's like a point system of sorts associated with certain equipment that is destroyed. Is that something that the 413th is participating in, and if so, what's been your experience with that?
Yeah, point system. It's because in Ukraine it's very I don't know, can we use like abusive words? It's like using like fucking score because it's about
Sure, that
it's
works.
like play of words. I know it's very funny. It's good. It's like a modern war. Modern war, like we are combat unit, but we like research and development. We are fundraising because to our experiments or to properly use of some new weapons, we need not to wait in the government delivery. We not to wait like from our allied deliveries of some compartments. We need to get it and to do it as faster and even to tell the government and allied companies what we need to properly use these weapons and to spread it to another units. So modern war needs very big flexibility. That's why maybe we are more successful in drone wars now than the Russians, because we got, I think, many more times bigger quantity of talented guys from a business, from some science technologies, and who do not go to service for the money, for the career. They like going to clear their houses and which were occupied by Russians, or going for revenge. And this guy, I now get several guys from my unit who can go to the civil life. They have a possibility to demobilization because they got like a free child or they have hard injuries, but they continue to fight because they want a revenge of all these bad things which Russians do. And Question of flexibility is provided by government, like this initiative of this electronic scores, yes score, because it's bringing like some competition to units, competition to weapons, to drones, and giving like fast logistics. Because we understanding you can wait army logistics and you can wait from this Ministry of Digital Transformation to wait delivery of your score drones. So it's really like I don't know if it in some history like alternatives when or similar stories when government make competition to units.
Hmm.
As more you hit with the camera record confirmed hits, the more you got weapons. So the more you hit, the more you get. Like product companies, we now waiting to prepare to want some very cheap Ukrainian system. It's very, I think it will be very like a disaster for Western countries, consumers and soldiers, because we got drones who can work successfully with like similar artificial intelligence target aiming, and it working successfully for 40 kilometers. But we can got confirmed hits on 50 and 60 kilometers, and it costs $5,000. It's very cheap. And these
Wow.
guys, they are so talented. They speak to me. Of course, we made it for some armored vehicles or maybe Russian anti-aircraft systems. But if you hit with this with this weapon infantry, as we see a video like this drone hit infantry, immediately we send to you another drone like a gift from our company. So that's also like motivation system from a company. They don't worry about you. Not hitting some priority target. If you hit like Russian infantry, we also send you like a gift this drone. So it's systems of motivation because modern war and many not professional soldiers. So they need maybe it's as a problem that than an opportunity. That these guys are very passionate. They can be very sad. Oh, we don't hit, we don't hit. Mostly the like guys who fought for several years or from the beginning of big war or previous, these guys I know. I have some groups who I know I bring to them some weapon, they start to upgrade it, and it can take maybe half a year, and they are not yelling. They like doing their job. They are very ugly, but they doing, and they like concentrated, and they understand we need to do this job. But many guys 1-2 months of some inappropriate work of drones, and say, "Oh, we are. I wanted to get another weapon. I wanted to change my profession in another military." So it's motivation of people of this. We now got 1 million in the all the forces security of Ukraine, like special forces, police, and military, and in combat zone, only I think 500,000 of these guys, because another are spread to the borders, to the training centers, and many of these guys are not professional soldiers. So motivation, like score games, competition, it's one of a big part of army promotion to people to be more effective.
Makes sense. How much has, I'd be interested in how the procurement has changed from there's been, and there still are, a lot of fundraisers to provide drones to Ukraine. How has that shifted from mostly fundraisers to, I think now it's mostly government? Can you talk about how that's changed over the years?
Um, there are many different programs in Europe, in USA, I think also another country, maybe Japan, Australia, no, and another. I don't want to make
Yeah.
less attention to somebody who I don't know, because it's not my job. I don't know everything. We understand that every drone force and every military in the world, they wanted to take part at least for their systems in Ukraine to be approved on a combat zone, because I definitely exactly know that maybe 80% of allied drones, they are not ready for this real war.
Interesting.
They are really expensive. They are not understanding how difficult it will be in working against jammers and we understand like it's not Russian jammers, it's Chinese jammers, and Chinese jammers can be in any part of our planet. So you cannot thinking I will not fight with Russian jammers, so I don't need to have such good connection. No, it's a challenge for everybody. So we work with very big quantity of modern drones, deep strike systems, recon drones, attack drones. Like for I can as for drones that I can speak, I think good for use. It's Vector. It's German drone Recon. Good for use FlyEye Polish drone. Switchblade is very expensive. Switchblade, I mean 600. It's deadly expensive. Nobody, I think, you buy Switchblade because it's too costly. But it works in combat zone. I'm not so skeptical about them. I know the problems with these drones, but it really do harm to enemy. And some classified we got also systems. I don't know, we cannot speak about them, but there are not so big quantity of them. And Ukrainian systems, they are much more cheaper and working sometimes more effectively. But I see a huge quantity of the many foreign drones who really scary, expensive. And some companies they come, it will go everywhere, it will hit everybody, and it's working 100%. I'm now really, when somebody called to me from some big company with some billions of dollars of the budget, and they say it's some special drone from the Martians, and it will kill everything in the combat zone. I'm okay. Let's test in combat zone, and even not in combat zone, we bring to the polygon. Enable some simply Ukrainian jammer, not the powerful jammer, and this run like pick, they okay, we will turn back 3 months, and it's wait half a year, and some companies, some big companies, big drones with they came here in 2022, 2023, and then they disappear because they even cannot make a brace. Some companies start moving, so. I think many countries, many companies, they want to bring their weapons here to be clarify is it working, and they used it like assistance to Ukraine. Some drones we buy from the government. Some drones still now send it to Ukraine as a gift. I know some very rich guys, especially now one American guy doing very big gifts to Ukraine army. He really saved many of our lives because he do his job well, and his drone is not so expensive, and also some parts of assistance to Ukraine maybe is classified, but usually yes. Usually I think it's now not 2022 when we got many assistance from the European countries and from USA, because everybody understanding if Ukraine will fall or get to big problems from Russia, it will be signal to all the world. Like Imagine 7, we understand Chinese or any country who can maybe make a competition with the West countries. Oh, West, a few. They even cannot protect Ukraine. We are not a member of a NATO, of course, but we are like allied country, and everybody understand it. After Ukraine, then we will be NATO country because we are the last border between the NATO and Russia, and everybody understanding. It's not a question. We are not a part of the Europe, like European Union, and not a part from the America. But we are also understanding Africa also is not a part of China. But Chinese understanding in Africa now is Chinese forces, Chinese economics, Chinese docks and seaports, and influence and global politics is not about who is your your member of your union. And now we are in Ukraine. We are laughing at all the United Nations. What is United Nations? What can be more unusable and ineffective? Red Cross organization. I really don't understand why, because promoting the tortures which do Russians to prisoners of war, when it maybe now is revenged only by Ukrainian military intelligence and security service. Yeah. Security service inside Russia find the guys who are really like maniacs. I really understanding now that we not go into the medieval age. We are going much more deeper. Russian, like barbarian, this politics of torturing people without any reason. My friends, I got one of my relative. He is now in a Russian prison. Many of our guys who served in my unit previously or now was imprisoned in Russia. So I know many about it. So I understand. And everybody that many international big organizations, they are now not preventing something. Now we're talking about the like real politics. If there is some interest of West country, of Russia, of Iran, of China, no matter you are friend, you are ally, you are member of something. It's like a question about the interest and question about the future. Because we understand it. If Russia make a rally to Ukraine and we do not stand, then next time they no need to attack. They only tell to European countries, we now go to Baltia. And then all the Europe, oh no, not go to Baltia. Or they will speak to with some Chinese or with Iran. We are going to Africa. And France or USA, you will not, you will need to retreat because we are going to Africa. So it's also like a moral question, and there may be most important thing which bite West when they support to Ukraine, spend it here many weapons, many money. They buy destroying of myths that Russian Federation, like Russian Empire, post-Soviet Empire or Soviet Empire, they are really making comparisons that they are resurrecting Soviet Union. It's not like scary monster. Everybody understanding that Ukrainian is not so big help from the. It was deadly important to us as help. It was very important, but we understand we are not getting like F-22 or we're not getting some nuclear weapons. It's like usual weapons and on delivery from the long period of time. And they see what motivated guys can do with such big force, which was previously Russian army, and that I think was good investment of Western world to show to everybody that this barbarian rally will be defeated if you are not scared. And that's I think why still now many countries continue to help Ukraine.
I agree. Yeah, again, I appreciate you taking the time, man. Ukraine is really leading the way. I know you know this, but for the audience, Ukraine is really leading the way in drone warfare, and you being a commander of a unmanned aerial unit, you're at the tip of the spear. So thank you so much for taking the time to talk through this. I hope you're able to pass that knowledge on to a lot of allied countries like the United States, and hopefully this war does come to a close here soon. You have a YouTube channel. We'll link below. When's the next video coming out?
Now we need to make something in English. I think next week I will do something to.
All right. We'll hold you to it.
Thank you.
Yevgen, thank you again so much for taking the time.
Thank you. Good evening.
So thank you again very much to Yevgen for taking the time out of his very busy day. I'm sure the commander of a drone unit probably has a few things to do, but to come over and share some of his knowledge about how this aspect of the fight has changed. Again, be sure to check out Yevgen's YouTube channel in the description below. He promised a video in the next week or so. We'll see about that. Not going to hold him to it. He's got a lot of other things to do. And then, of course, if interested and able, the fundraiser that helped put this together was Ukraine Aid Ops. That link will be in the description below as well. But that's all I got for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.